when President Ford became President Ford, I, along with the rest of the country, was introduced to Betty Ford. And aside from being beautiful and graceful and gracious and humble and welcoming, she was fierce. I mean, standing up for the ERA, which at that time was not quite as off limits as it later became because of all kinds of efforts against it. But Betty Ford, as the First Lady, speaking out in favor of the Equal Rights Amendment was astonishing. And I was living in Arkansas, and the work that she did was just like a thunderclap. People felt it, believed it, were in awe of it. And I just thought that took so much grit and guts. We all know about her work on behalf of breast cancer because it wasn't just her openness about it. And it was very personal to me because my mother's best friend, a woman who lived across the street from us back in the 60s, pre-Betty, came down with breast cancer and nobody talked about it. And the children, you know, I was friends with her children, and as I say, my mother was over there every afternoon just about. We had no idea what was wrong with her because you just didn't talk about breast cancer then. And she died. And it was only after she died that I learned what she had been going through. So when Betty Ford came along, and that great picture of her in the hospital room with her husband and Bob Hope and that big smile and that perfect hairdo, you know, it was so reassuring and invigorating to have an important person, let alone our First Lady, who was so open and honest and personal about the struggles. But then she went on and she campaigned for better breast cancer treatment. She certainly blew away the stigma which had stood in the way of women even feeling comfortable getting examinations. I mean, I can't imagine how many lives she saved, directly and indirectly, because of her courage in facing up to her own disease.